And therefore, if you allow me, I would begin with the very first question. I know it sounds a bit inevitable, but I would love to ask you, when did you become aware of cinema as a kid, child, adolescent, teenager? So what was it that made you fall in love with cinema and think, oh, this is something that I would like to try, this is something that I want to do?
First of all, good morning to everyone. Thank you for coming, and thank you for that really beautiful introduction. You know, they say, God, please make me the person my dog thinks I am. So I was just thinking, God, please make me the person Jonah says I am. Let's see. I can't remember not loving movies. I really had the fever from when I was, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years old. And my mother was a great film goer. My older brothers were great film goers. And also in the house, we had a, not even Super 8, but regular 8 projector. And it was my great joy early on, simply threading the projector and watching, you know, very small, short versions of feature films. So I could go on from there. But you're making me think about one thing, though. Ruth Gordon, the actress Ruth Gordon, you know her from Rosemary's Baby and Harold and Maude, she wrote in her autobiography, if you want to be an actor or actress, you have to start when you're about 4. 5, you can still get in. 6 is a little bit too late. Why? Because you start training your parents to take you where you need to go. And in my case, that was true. That my parents learned early on just to, if they just leave me at the movies, and I'd be very happy.
So let's take a huge leap forward, or a flash forward. Years later, after you had done already a lot of films, extraordinary fan of yours, or I don't know a fan, but someone like President Obama said that Election was his favorite film. I wanted to drop this
favorite political film.
Favorite political
I
film.
met Barack Obama twice, and both times I said who I am, and he goes, oh, Election, that's my favorite political film.
So did you ever ask him how he became aware of that, or?
No, but he, as far as I know about him, he reads a lot and watches a lot of movies.
That's not something that can be said of.
Don't get me started.
I mean, the way you work with the subject matter of your film, but also with the actors, you never shied away from looking at the more complex overall picture. I mean, Citizen Ruth, I mean, you tried to make things hard for yourself from the beginning by tackling a subject as complex as abortion, and still you managed to bring this extremely nuanced perspective on a subject that has indeed polarized views. So I would love to ask you, how do you start conceiving this from the writing point of view when you bring the written page to the actor? So there are some nuances in the working process. Can you elaborate on that?
About nuances, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. That just comes with the process, I think. But when you start writing a screenplay, it has always to start simply with the characters. And like in that case, Citizen Ruth, it was my very first feature, and it was a satire, a comedy about not abortion, but abortion protesters. Against abortion and pro-choice. And my co-writer and I simply read an article in a newspaper which had more or less that same situation. We said, oh, that's a comedy, and started writing it. It's much more dangerous to start thinking, oh, let me make a movie set in a certain world and then concoct a story to fit that. No, we always start with the characters.
And why did you think, oh, that's a comedy? Because we know that, I mean, from what I understand from your word, that you think comedy is an extremely interesting way of working and trying to cast a light on different situations. So why did you think that's a comedy?
For me, comedy is the superior form because it provides distance from that view of human experience. It provides a delightful distance from what you're talking about. And also, Jim and we make comedies. We're always just interested in in humor. And we read that art. I don't want to go into detail about what that movie was about because we don't have much time. But it sparked in me the same. It suggested a movie like Billy Wilder's Ace in the Hole. Again, you talk about cinephilia. I was thinking, oh, this is a little bit like Ace in the Hole. People are arguing about a certain thing, but not about the thing itself, only about their own points of view.
I see.